Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Average, and today we're doing another episode in the Nuxt Full Stack Web Development Series. This is going to be officially one of the last few episodes that I do, and it's going to be on deployment. The reason why I'm putting kind of a pause on this series is that Nuxt 5 is in development actively. There are preview and nightly builds for it already. It's not intended for production yet, but I will probably pick this series back up, or maybe even start a brand new one with Nuxt 5 once that releases. I'm only really planning on doing maybe one or two others in this series. This is going to kind of be how things wrap up. So I want to say thank you guys for sticking around, and let's get into it. In today's episode, we are going to be doing deployment. We want to get our app onto a public-facing URL that you can give to your friends, whatever. And to do so, we're actually going to be doing it on something called Netlify. It is a serverless hosting deployment platform, and it makes it very easy for us to deploy our Nuxt applications. However, we do need to make a few changes to how things are done. Firstly, because this is going to be serverless, Netlify doesn't have the ability to do read and write on a database locally. So we're going to need to sign up for another service called Turso. This is very widely used. However, it does require us to make a few changes to our project. First things first, in our DB migrations, we're going to just delete that folder entirely. We don't want that anymore. Next, we want to install LibSQL client for Drizzle ORM using this command here. And while we're waiting for that to install, let's get a database set up on Turso. So we can press create database here after you've signed up, and we're just going to give it a name, Nuxt Tutorials, just like so. And we're going to do US East Ohio. Why not? Let's create the database here. Now you'll notice we have this database URL. We're going to copy that. Next, head over to your .env, and I've actually deleted all of the database stuff that we had before. Do the same thing. We're going to make some new fields, database URL, and that's where our Turso URL is going to be. Our JW, we're going to leave our JWT private the same, but we're going to add another field, and we're going to call this database token. Actually, before I do all of this, make sure you guys have your repo using version control, preferably Git, and upload it to GitHub. Make sure that it's private because you're probably not going to want these public, but if you do, that's okay as well. It doesn't really matter. Just make sure it's published to GitHub. I'm also going to make a new branch, and I'm just going to call this one prod. We're going to bring over our changes. I'm using GitHub Desktop. It's super easy for demos. And also, if you've never used Git or GitHub before, it's really great to just get into it and use it. Provides a nice little GUI. Okay, so let's go here to create token on Turso. We're going to make a new database token. I'm going to make mine expire tomorrow, and I'm going to do a read and write. So we're going to press create and copy our token here and just paste it in there for our database token. Okay, perfect. So now that we've done that, what we need to do next is head over to our Drizzle config here, and we need to make some changes. First of all, the dialect, we need to change that to Turso. Our URL can be left the same, but we need to add a new field to this DB credentials called auth token. And this is going to be process.env.database_token, exclamation mark, ensuring that it's always present. Now we're going to say npx drizzle kit generate, and this is going to generate migrations for what actually needs to be added. You'll notice that it populated that here. Okay, and then we also need to change how we connect to our database. Unfortunately, this is going to require a bit of change to our code base. So head over to your utils drizzle.ts, and inside of here, we have our Drizzle here. For our import statement, we're actually, instead of importing from Better SQLite 3, we're going to import from LibSQL. This changes things a little bit. We're going to delete everything that we have there, and inside of our Drizzle, for our parameter, we're going to pass in an object, and we're going to add a field called connection. This is going to have a URL, and that's going to point to our database URL. And then we're also going to have auth token, and that's also going to point to our database token that we had set up before. Make another field right below connection, and we can just pass in our schema there like so. Awesome. Next, we need to make sure that our database calls are being properly awaited. Now that we're using a host that's on the internet. We're not just doing this locally. LibSQL requires us to do our database calls with await. So in something like our login.post here, we have a database call, but this isn't actually going to return the user object. It's going to return a promise of the user object. So it's a very simple fix. We just add await there right at the beginning. And this will unfortunately require a few changes on our end. We can speed up this process and find it a lot faster by typing in const db into a simple VS Code find in all files, and we can actually look for every single area where we're doing database calls. We also have one in our register. Luckily, we're already awaiting that one. I think it's because we were returning a value for that. And let's just look for anywhere else where we are doing use Drizzle. Okay, so here, this is going to return a promise of fruits. So we're going to want to do await just like that. And now it'll actually return our fruits properly. I think that might be everywhere that we're actually using our database. So that might just be everything right there. I think if everything is set up properly, we should be good to deploy onto Netlify here. So we're going to go to Netlify, add a new project, and it's going to ask us where we want to import. We're going to say import Git repository from GitHub, authorize your GitHub account, and I have my repo right here. Ensure that it's published. You can click on it, and we're going to give it a name. We're just going to call it Nuxt tutorials average. Okay, perfect. That name's available. Branch to deploy. We don't actually have our prod branch deployed yet. So what we want to do is we want to click this little icon here for generate commit messages. And I realized we actually do need to make one last change, and that is to our package.json. For our build script here, we're going to put in front of this npx drizzle kit push, and then we're going to do 2 ampersands, and we're still going to have the Nuxt build. So this is going to ensure that our database is synced up with the migrations that we have locally. So yeah, shouldn't be too difficult there. Okay, so now we have our commit message generated. You can write your own if you want. I just find that feature is very easy and handy to use when you don't really care what the commit says. You just want to get it committed. Okay, boom. We have our prod branch, so unfortunately we do need to refresh this. So branch to deploy, we're going to press prod here. Leave your base directory empty, leave your build command empty. Publish directory is fine as it is, but for our environment variables here, we're going to go import from a .env file. We are going to copy and paste our .env that we have locally here into there, and we're going to say it contains secret values like so, and just press deploy Nuxt tutorials average. Crossing my fingers, if I haven't messed anything up, we should get our first deployment working successfully. So let's just look through here and see if anything fails. Okay, so it looks like our database changes have applied. We can actually head to our database here and verify that by going into it, pressing edit data at the top. And yeah, we'll see our 2 tables there. Okay, looks like everything worked properly. Let's open our production deploy. You'll see here we have a subdomain Nuxt tutorials average.netlify.app. This is a public domain. You can give it to anyone. They'll be able to access your site from here. If you would like to, you can also configure your domain to be one that you own. We're not gonna go into that in this video, but that is something you can do through Netlify. If we go to inspect and console, we have no errors, which is a great sign. We're just gonna keep that open just in case we get any. So username, let's register. We're gonna say test user, submit, user successfully created. You may now log in. Okay, test user. I already forgot the password I typed in. I think it was just 1234. Okay, cool. So as you can see here, we are logged in. We can log out if we want. Boom, very easy. Our list of fruits though, however, is empty, and that's because we don't actually have what we had on the local. We can add in our own fruits if we want. We can say apple, and we can save the changes, and we refresh. We'll notice that we get that now. Add another fruit. We'll call this one pear. Add another one. We'll do cherries and grapes. I don't know. I don't know, man. Just fruits. Put down fruits. And you'll notice that those are being populated when we refresh the page. Something that's very cool about this is, let's say I do want to make a change, right? I want to change this to not say the best website anymore. I can say, let's look for that string here, the best website. Okay, let's just change that to averages website and save that. We can go to our Git, make sure it's committed. And what's great about Netlify is that it will just watch your repo. Anytime it sees a commit, it will automatically start building. We won't see the content change yet. We actually have to wait for the deployment to finish building here, but we can watch it if we want. Okay, very nice. No errors. Everything is good. And if we refresh, we should see that change to Average's website. So there you go. Super easy. I would consider Netlify zero hassle. I mean, it just works. Yeah, it's very scalable. It has CDN support. There are further Nuxt integrations. I'll point you to that Nuxt Netlify module, and this will just allow Netlify to act as certain things like your image CDN. I think they have blob storage, some things like that. Which might make, the integration a little nicer, a little better for you to use. Either way, I mean, we have our website deployed here and it's ready to go. We have auth working properly. We have, database calls working properly. Everything seems to be working pretty well. So with that being said, guys, this is pretty much going to be the end of this series. I do hope that you enjoyed sticking around. Thank you so much for all the support on this series. I know it's been one of my most popular series on the channel to date. So I just want to say thank you. We're at 1,070 subscribers now. So we're really getting up there. I don't know what we were at when I started this, but it's gone up quite a bit. So thank you so much. If you are interested in more programming series, I have a Bun, Beginner's Guide to Bun, which you can check out. I'll probably have that linked right here if this is on the end screen. Check it out. Probably learn something cool. So I will eventually return to Nuxt, but for right now, it's probably going to be pretty stagnant. So again, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, give it a share, give this course a share if it helped you out, and let me know what you guys thought about Nuxt overall. I'd love to hear it. I really like it. I think it's a great workflow. For Nuxt 5, when that does release, I will do a series on that as well, and we will be using Bun instead of NPM for that. Yeah, in the meantime, check out the Bun series, and with that being said, guys, I'm Average. Have yourself a great day.